Friends, every week we work hard to bring you a spine-chilling animated horror story. So, if you're enjoying our stories, that is, the stories on the Cooney Monday channel, then subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon for notifications about our latest videos. Summer vacations have a charm of their own. Schools are closed, and you get plenty of time to have fun. This story is about one such summer vacation. It was 98. 16-year-old Nisha and her 13-year-old younger brother Aman were very excited for that year's summer vacation because they were going to meet their grandparents after almost 10 years. Their grandparents lived in a small village near the Shimla Hill Station. They had an old farmhouse surrounded by fields where the electricity would go out at any moment. But Aman and Nisha were super excited. It was the first time they were traveling without their parents. After a long journey, their train stopped at Shimla. They were the only ones to get off at the station. As soon as they stepped out, they saw their grandparents and ran toward them with their bags. Their grandparents looked just like they remembered, except they seemed a bit weaker now. It was scorching hot with the sun blazing down. But despite that, their grandparents were wrapped in shawls. There was a strange emptiness in their eyes. They had smiles on their faces, but they felt very fake. However, Aman and Nisha didn't notice these things. They were just thrilled to meet their grandparents. Throughout the car ride, the siblings kept talking about their train journey. Their grandparents didn't say much, just nodding along and frequently glancing at them through the rearview mirror. After about an hour's drive from Shimla, they reached the house. Their grandparents' farmhouse was huge but very old, yellowed walls and wild grass all around. It looked like no one morrows. In the house, there wasn't another house in sight for miles. It was already night, so nothing was visible around. Outside the house, on the veranda, there was an old rocking chair that was swaying slightly, even without any breeze. Aman jokingly said that this is the kind of place where horror movies are shot, and both siblings burst into laughter. Inside, everything was old. Black and white photos, wooden furniture, and a strange smell, like something was rotting. When the siblings made faces, their grandmother smiled and said, "It's the smell of cow dung. It's coming from the fields." Saying this, she went to the kitchen, and their grandfather showed them their room and asked them to come for dinner. Their room was quite large, but all they could see through the window was darkness and tall grass. A little later, their grandmother called them for dinner. Everyone sat at the dining table. Their grandparents sat with them, but they didn't eat anything. They just kept repeating how happy they were that the kids had come. At first, this seemed very odd to the siblings, but they were meeting their grandparents after 10 years. Maybe their grandparents had missed them a lot. After dinner, Nisha and Aman went to their room. A little later, their grandfather came in. After saying goodnight, he turned off the light and before leaving said, "At night, you'll hear the sounds of many animals here. Don't be scared and don't step out of the room at all." With that, he left the room. The exhausted kids didn't even realize when they fell asleep. Every time you find some new software, it seems promising, but then you have to wait for access, and in the end, you get nothing. But Vikrant's tool is different. No waiting, no code, just open it and start working. I used it for a short time, and the balance receipts started changing. Come, let's see how it works. On the left side, you have the assistant's prediction. On the right side, you enter the platform. You set an automatic exit before the drop, and boom, everything matches perfectly. Let's try it one more time. The assistant predicted a fall point of 4.29, followed it, waited, and voila, another perfect result. Nowadays, many people are sharing their results. Finally, a tool that actually works without asking for anything. If you want to check it out too, follow the link below. Join Vikrant's channel and try the assistant yourself. Instant access, no delay. Try it while it's available. The next 2 days passed quite normally. Every day their grandparents would come to wake them up. Nisha spent most of her time sketching by a window. From that window, all she could see were trees, all of them looking exactly the same. Aman would roam around the house or sit on an old swing at the back corner of the house, listening to songs on his Walkman. Their grandparents would leave every afternoon, saying they were going to work in the fields and return only at night. There was a landline phone in the house, but it was broken, so the kids couldn't even talk to their parents. There were a few small things that seemed odd. For example, their grandparents never ate with them. Every time, they'd make some excuse and just sit at the dining table. Once Aman saw the fridge in the kitchen was open, and inside was just one pot with some thick red liquid. When he asked about it, his grandmother simply said it was an old family recipe and started laughing loudly. Often and mother would start laughing loudly for no reason, and their grandfather would sit in one place for hours, staring at something in front of him. The siblings thought this was just a sign of old age. That night, Nisha woke up to a sound. The noise came from outside the door. Then, a large shadow passed under the door, just for a second. Forgetting her grandfather's warning, Nisha tiptoed to the door and slowly opened it. The strange smell was now even stronger. It was dark ahead, but she could hear a dragging sound. It didn't sound like an animal, it was something else. Before Nisha could go closer and figure it out, someone suddenly placed a hand on her shoulder, and she let out a scream. It was her grandmother behind her. That same strange fake smile was still on her face, and her face had turned oddly pale. She told Nisha to go back to sleep. Terrified, Nisha quietly returned to her room, but she couldn't sleep out of fear. She was now feeling uneasy about that place. The next morning, her grandparents came to her room. Their faces were completely normal. Like every day, they said, "Breakfast is in the kitchen, and we're going to work in the fields." As soon as Nisha heard the main door close, she breathed a sigh of relief. That afternoon, Aman was sitting on the swing outside, doing his holiday homework. He heard the sound of children playing coming from inside the house. He peeked through the back window and saw a shadow, as if it belonged to a small boy. Aman thought maybe some guests had come to the house, but when he went inside, there was no one except Nisha. He started looking for the boy throughout the house. Then, his attention fell on a black and white photo in the drawing room. In the middle was a large photo of their grandparents, and blood was dripping from their eyes. Seeing this, Aman got scared. He immediately called Nisha and showed her the photo, but by then the photo was completely normal. Nisha also told Aman about what happened to her the previous night. Both siblings' hands and feet went cold. What was going on in that house? The house had a total of 3 rooms. Their grandparents' room was on the first floor, and it was always locked. It seemed like the foul smell was coming from that room. Somehow, the siblings found a key from a bunch of keys and opened the room. As soon as they opened the door, a horrible smell hit them. Inside, on the bed, were 2 rotting bodies. Covering their mouths, they went a little closer, and Nisha saw that one of the bodies was wearing the same locket her grandmother used to wear. The ground slipped from under Nisha's feet. She realized these were the bodies of their grandparents. But if these were their grandparents' bodies, then who were the people they had been staying with? Friends, this was part 1 of this story. To watch part 2, subscribe to our channel, Kuni Monday, and find out what happens next in the story next week. And yes, if you can't wait, tune in to The Horror Show by Kuni Monday podcast on Spotify. Part 2 is already live on Spotify. The link is in the description and pinned comment. If you want to check it out, follow the link below. Join Vikrant's channel and try the assistant yourself. Instant access, no delay. Try it while it's available.